I think there was a sense, and there's quite a lot of people who set all these commitments to COP, well, they're greenwashing it, they're really not playing. And I think that's why your words about it, nowhere to hide here. These are serious commitments from the top of organisations. And I think people forget what the pressure points for them are, Bill. And it's not just, we've got a leader who would like to be nice about it. It is driven, isn't it, by a lot of the sources of funds, the customers, and yes, of course, absolutely the staff as well. But the driving forces they're not letting up, are they, in that way?
No, they're not. And I think that the whole idea of nowhere to hide really was around putting a set of systems in place that cover the various bases. You have to start, you can only reduce your emissions if you know where you're starting, and the data hasn't been so good. It's still not good in big parts of the world. Then you've got to have a plan for how quickly you can reduce, and that has to be tracked and reported and validated. But where does the pressure come from? We're sitting here, we're working in the financial services industry. That's one point of pressure. I think that the more compelling point of pressure is probably from the buyers. So the buyers in the supply chain. For companies that are exporting, think about all those Chinese or Indian manufacturers who are exporting. They're not going to be able to sell to European or American or British companies if they're not green compliant themselves. So if finance is coming from one angle, supply chains coming from another angle, the consumers are coming from their own angle. And then, of course, there's their shareholders and other financiers and government. So there's a lot of pressure. And if any one of those pressure points turns out to be a bit weak, there's still many others, which doesn't give any of us a right to back off a bit, because we all have our own pressures. I can tell we feel very pressured by our employees, by our shareholders, and I think increasingly by our regulators. That's a good thing.
Yes, I agree. I always have a belief that also one of the pressures on big CEOs is not just their boardroom table, it's also their kitchen table. I mean, kids, the next generation of life come at you, and they're pretty uncompromising. We saw, Carl Icahn take McDonald's the other day. It was the pressure from his daughter. And the next gen pressure here is very, very strong, isn't it? And that, I don't feel that weakening. And also, if you want to be the best employer, I mean, most of us all in wars for talent. And you're not going to do it unless you really do look like you're being more of a part of a solution and part of the problem, because we're all part of the problem. The question is how much we're really committed to that. Does that resonate when you're getting talent in the world?
Absolutely.
Because you've been very strong on this.
100%. And it's not 100% of the people for whom this is the top issue, but it's well over 70%. It's in their top 3 issues for where they want to work. And we survey all the time, and also survey people who are leaving. And if they believe that you're genuinely a purpose-led organization, and by the way, I think this pandemic has only made that a much stronger sense, that people really want to know that they're working. Of course, they want to make a living, but they want to feel like they've got a purpose in their lives, and that they're doing something useful. And climate change is right at the heart of that.
Yeah. No, it's funny, it's watching Peter's face when he says how proud they are here to be a B Corp.
Yeah.
There is a pride. I mean, people want to feel it, and if we'll all only win if we've really got that sense of commitment in the organisation.